What's up, Gooners? The window opens in literally days and the stories just keep on coming thick and fast. The only condition under which Bournemouth will sell Eli Junior Kroupi this summer has just been revealed. And Arsenal need to hear this immediately. Meanwhile, there is a second Bournemouth player on Arsenal's radar that could be just as exciting, and his name is already being linked to a Champions League move. Andrea Berta has just made a move that looks remarkably like the William Saliba masterstroke all over again. And if this one pays off, it could be the smartest piece of business of the entire summer. And we have got a massive William Saliba World Cup update that every single Gooner needed to hear. Let's get into all of it. If you want every detail on these massive stories as we count down to the window opening, subscribe right now, turn on notifications, and let's go. Let's jump straight into the first story because iPaper have just dropped the clearest picture yet of exactly what needs to happen for Arsenal to sign Eli Junior Kroupi this summer, and the Gunners need to pay very close attention. The headline is simple. Bournemouth want to keep Kroupi for at least another season. The club are in no rush whatsoever to sell, and north of £100 million is the figure they would demand if they were to even consider letting him go. But here is the crucial detail, and the only circumstance under which the Cherries will entertain moving him on this summer is if Krooppy himself or his representatives start making noises about wanting to leave. That is the trigger. Without it, Bournemouth will hold firm regardless of how much money is put on the table. Now, this makes complete sense from Bournemouth's perspective. They have built their entire model around the Brighton blueprint, identify elite young talent, develop them, and sell for transformative fees at exactly the right moment. Krooppy is their crown jewel right now, and with European football arriving at the Vitality Stadium next season, they have a genuinely compelling argument for keeping him around for one more year. But here is what Arsenal and every other interested club, Liverpool and Manchester City, are also circling, need to be doing right now. Building a relationship with Kroopy's camp. Making the Emirates project so attractive that the player himself decides he wants to push for the move. Because once that happens, Bournemouth have confirmed they will engage. The power in this situation does not lie with the clubs. It lies entirely with a 19-year-old French teenager, and Arsenal need to make sure he is dreaming of North London. There is also another name buried in this story that deserves attention, and we are going to get to him right now in Story 2. Now let's talk about the player whose name has quietly been growing in Arsenal conversations over the last few weeks, because according to Chelsea journalist Alex Goldberg, Alex Scott is a definite possibility for Arsenal this summer, and the profile fits Arteta's needs almost perfectly. Goldberg was clear about the situation. Scott is expected to join a Champions League club if he departs Bournemouth this summer, and Arsenal are described as a definite possibility alongside Manchester United and Liverpool. That is serious company to be mentioned in, and it tells you everything about the level of regard this midfielder is held in across the Premier League. Scott was virtually ever present for Bournemouth last season and has been a consistent performer for England's under-21s throughout his career. Right now, he is in America with Thomas Tuchel's senior England squad preparing for the World Cup, and that detail is more relevant to Arsenal than it might first appear. Because here is the thing, Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka are also in that camp. Arteta will absolutely be getting direct reports from his own players about how Scott is performing, how he trains, how he carries himself in a high-pressure environment. That is inside information no scouting report can replicate. If Rice comes back from America raving about Scott, and given that Rice has always spoken glowingly about technically gifted English midfielders, that is a real possibility. Arsenal's interest will accelerate dramatically. Arsenal have been clear that adding a midfielder remains a priority this summer. Scott's profile, energetic, technically gifted, Premier League proven, and already operating at international level, fits the Arteta blueprint beautifully. A double Bournemouth raid for Krooppy, and Scott might have seemed ambitious a month ago. Now, it is starting to look like genuine Arsenal thinking. Now let's talk about the story that every Gooner needs to sit up and pay attention to, because according to Le Parisien, Arsenal have formally presented their project to PSG youngster Emmanuel Mbemba, and this one has William Saliba written all over it. The details are fascinating. Mbemba is 18 years old, out of contract at PSG at the end of the season, and despite being offered a professional deal by the French champions, he is seriously considering his options. Arsenal have monitored him multiple times throughout the campaign and have now taken the next step, formally sitting down with the player and laying out their vision for his development. That is a significant move, and the Saliba parallel is impossible to ignore. Cast your mind back to 2019. Arsenal spotted a teenager at Saint-Étienne, who most clubs had not yet identified as a future world beater. They moved quickly, paid the right price, and then, crucially, had the patience to loan him back for development rather than rush him into the first team. 3 loans later, Saliba arrived at the Emirates and became arguably the best centre-back on the planet. Mbemba captained PSG's youth side and played a key role in their Gambardella Cup winning run, the most prestigious youth competition in French football. The ceiling is clearly enormous, but there is a practical complication. The teenager does not currently have enough points to secure a work permit in England, meaning Arsenal would be unable to integrate him immediately and would need to send him out on loan in Europe while he continues his development. Sound familiar? It should. That is the exact same path Saliba walked. And if Mbemba follows even half of that trajectory, Berta will have pulled off another masterstroke for next to nothing. This is elite recruitment. This is why Arsenal hired Berta in the first place. Now let's round things off with a massive update on William Saliba, because France have just handed Arsenal and every Gooner a huge boost ahead of the World Cup. According to Robin Berner, Saliba is expected to start for France in their final World Cup preparation game against Northern Ireland in Lille. That is the clearest possible confirmation that the injury concerns which had been circulating since the Champions League final are now firmly behind him. The context here matters. Saliba suffered a physical issue in the build-up to the Budapest final, and it worsened after the game against PSG. There was genuine concern in the French camp about whether he would make the tournament at all. But Deschamps has been consistently clear: Saliba is fit, he is available, and France need him. That last point was brutally illustrated when France lost 2-1 to Ivory Coast in their opening preparation game, with Saliba absent and Ibrahima Konate making a costly mistake for one of the goals. It took exactly 1 game without Saliba for it to become painfully obvious how much Les Bleus depend on him at the back. He walks back into that starting 11 immediately. Now here is the bigger picture for Arsenal. The World Cup is a massive opportunity for Saliba to finally silence the lingering questions about his international consistency. At club level, he is undeniably one of the best defenders on the planet. But for France, he has not yet consistently reproduced that same dominance. And he knows it. This tournament changes that narrative. A strong World Cup campaign without Gabriel Magalhaes alongside him proves once and for all that Saliba's brilliance is entirely his own. For Arsenal, their most important player arrives into next season with his confidence sky high and his body fully fit. After everything we went through in Budapest, that is exactly the news we needed, heading into what promises to be the biggest summer in recent memory. Come on, William. Go and show the world what you are made of. Now I want to hear from you. Can Arsenal convince Krooppy's camp to push for a move? Are you excited about the double Bournemouth raid for Scott as well? Does the Mbemba move remind you of the Saliba masterstroke? And how big a World Cup do you think Saliba will have? And drop everything in the comments right now. I read every single one, and your debates are always absolutely electric. Let's build this summer together. And if you want every Arsenal update as we push to finally bring that Champions League trophy to the Emirates, hit that subscribe button immediately. Smash it right now and turn on notifications. The window is days away, and we are coming for everything. Until next time, Gooners, come on you Gunners.